But once you
Okay, once I do that, once we are done, once I finish with the intro, I will you'll turn me over to the side, you'll put us into the side by side.
exactly.
Okay, I'm opening up the portal. It's 1:59. And well, all right. It is 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Gail Birks, and I am your tour guide for the Readiness Factor today. I want you to know, as you can see, I've got this smile as long as the state of Florida and as wide as the state of Texas today, because I am bringing you a very, very special guest. This is a very special show that we are having on the Readiness Factor today, and it really is about getting back to basics. So, without further ado, because we're going to have a lot to talk about today, I want to introduce you to our guests this afternoon. It will be Anunaku Osceola. I'll tell you a little bit more about her in just a moment, but she is here to speak with us today about rebuilding from the inside out. And let me tell you, folks, as a leader, as an executive, just as someone who is committed to building the future of whether it's your company, whether it's the company you're with, your community, sometimes you have to take it back to the village and go home and sit on the porch. And Anunaku is in Gainesville, Florida, joining us today. And as a matter of fact, folks, she actually is sitting on the porch. She is a spiritual leader and guide to building the new in you. And I just don't think I can give her justice. So you know what? I'm going to bring her on and I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about who she is and what she is up to. Anunaku, how
Yes,
are you, my
greetings.
sister?
I am well. It is so good to be with you in this space right now. I am elated and so honored. And I just want to thank you so much for the opportunity and every pioneering step you have taken, giving honor to you and your ancestors and your family. How is your family?
Family is doing great. Doing great. You gave us some new energy to work with. And folks, I can say this because I was when we were at the village, Anunaku took both my husband and I on her journey. So she's going to talk about that a little bit more. But give us, for those who don't know you, because I know you never met a stranger, tell us a little bit more about you and how this journey started for you.
You say it's an hour show. You know, I have always, I think the journey started a long time ago, you know, connecting the dots. In a lot of the African traditions, especially Elder Maladoma, Peace and Blessings, they talk about a naming ceremony, a hearing ceremony where they summon the child while the child is still in the mother's womb. And they realize and recognize that this is an ancestor returning. And so what they do is they ask the child that is still ruminating in the womb, who are you and why have you returned? And in that moment, the mother will speak and become the channel of the soul of the child. And the child will tell who they are returning and why and what's required. And the village elders will go and they build like a shrine of these pieces that the children mentioned, so that when the child grows up and we forget, that they will always be in remembrance of, because all those items are there already as they come into their adulthood or possibly after initiation. And so that's kind of how life has been, Gail. When I look back, you know, I've always loved to be with nature and things like that. And I've always been in service to people, you know, giving this, giving that, taking food at our house and that, you know, and so just always this connection to community and always this village mentality. Spiritually, I was raised Pentecostal. What I loved about that was the family vibration, the sister, the brother, and the sense of a shepherd, somebody watching over you, a man, a masculine, a fatherly figure. And then you had the mother who was like the prayer warrior and just so respected. And then the drumming and the dancing and all of it that came with the Pentecostal movement just resonated. And man, coming into that evolution and then, walking through different experiences, choosing different experiences, really now in another level of wisdom, consciously but subconsciously, to support my evolution, because initiations aren't easy. And each challenging thing we experience is an initiation,
right?
So moving through those initiations, but coming into a level of what we said we came here to do is a certain level of mastery, because we are all masters. You know what I mean? And there's a sovereignty in all of us and a remembering within all of our bone, learning to reconnect back with that which felt natural and would bring me back to the fullness of my authenticity. And I had to really connect all the dots to what that was, because the journey will leave you in the I don't know and a little depleted and wanting to give up. You know what I mean? And
let me jump in real quick with you, and because you said a word that really resonated with me, and that was authenticity. And a lot of times we get so caught up in trying to be whatever that is defined as, and that authenticity gets challenged, pushed to the side, or totally eliminated. Talk a little bit more about that authenticity on your journey and how you let it resonate with the people that you have in your universe or that you work with.
That is really beautiful question, sis. It's like, authenticity to me, people used to always say, oh, you're so powerful. You're so powerful. And I was like, it ain't resonating with me, because I'm still on this journey. I don't even know right now. And you're telling me I'm powerful. So wow. Okay. But I found that being authentic is the most powerful place you will ever land yourself.
Yes.
And so, like, coming into that authenticity, my mom jumped on the phone. Hi, Mom. And she knocked Gail. I don't even see you. Mom said, I'm here. That's what I'm talking about. That's authenticity right there.
There you go. Hey, Mom.
Hello.
I have to give honor to my mother.
Greetings. I'm sorry I knocked someone off. I could hardly get on myself because I've never had Zoom on the phone. It's always been on my big screen, and I'm not the most technical person in the world. So I apologize for the confusion.
No. We're glad you're here. So that was perfect. Because I'm talking about authenticity. You gave birth to me. So it's like there's the reflection. And the funny thing is that she's in green, and nature is the most beautiful reflection of authenticity that there is and that there can ever be. You know what I mean? So the more we connect to the nature, we become more natural within ourselves, because nature doesn't require anything else but for you to be and do you. And so, that would come over different invasions of what wasn't me. But sometimes we try to conform to that, to be people pleasing, to fit in, to get love, to fill in those empty spaces. You know what I mean? We'll look outside, which is natural, right? It's natural too. So authenticity to me was like the key thing to ground me, to anchor me, to allow any of my relationships to have any lasting, true effects and not be surface. You know what I mean? Because I think about the roots of a tree. I think about the oceans. I think about fires. You know what I mean? And once a fire gets blazing, you don't know where it started or where it ends. The ocean depths, we can't even sustain them. You know what I mean? Because it's so it's like it's a continual journey of like curiosity and imagination and creation and co-creation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know what? You're hitting some notes for people already, because LinkedIn is starting to burn it up. And they're telling me, I don't know, will, in quotations, will cause you not even to get started.
Because you know what? It's a cop out. And I'm gonna just say it just like that. And I tell that to my young people every time they're like, oh no, I don't know. I'm like, well, it's a cop out. But to them, I say that. But then it's also you haven't dug deep enough, or maybe you haven't had someone to support you in where you can go deeper beyond the I don't know. You know what I
So what
mean?
I
Because
yeah.
you do know.
So what I'm hearing you say is that through some of those conversations and walks, because girl, you walked me through the garden. We walked with the chickens. We walked with the birds. We walked in the grass barefoot. Those are things I haven't done since I was a kid. And little Miss Corporate America here just really rolled it off, rolled it back, and let it go and just enjoyed. My favorite part was sitting on the porch. And Oliver, my husband, felt the same way. I'm like, he's not gonna go for this. He's not gonna go for this. And just left the two of you and went on my way and sat on the porch in the front and let the two of you have your conversations. And it was just such a wonderful experience being in that space. We've got some shout outs to your mom. Everybody saying thank you for coming in. But that porch, and I see you've got some items behind you. You said you had
Dude.
some peeps that had joined you. We just lost you there.
Okay. Can you see me?
Yes.
I do, because I create altars, because altars to me bring a sacredness, and creating them is like ritual. And it's fun to do, because it taps into the creative aspect of you, and it also just holds the energy. So I do have an altar behind me that I created just for this setting. I have some of the people that I love and some of the beautiful medicines that I work with. I have Faces of the Truth Teller by Ia Sangoma. I have Spirit Walk with John Mee, that amazing medicine that she's expanding on, that is a part of Sawajira Village as well. And then I have Elder Maladoma and Sabone Fu, who's Spirit of Intimacy and Healing Wisdom of Africa. I have the Isis, which is the energy, crowns, and just resurrecting that divine mother, and a glass of water and libations and art from the children that come to the village home, the Harry Potter house, as they call it. And I got some beautiful offerings from the garden from Farmer Otis and some beads from my sister Chris. And here is the porch. Welcome to the porch and Sawajira Village, just to give you a little taste of what's happening here. And so these are the steps that we walk up, and then there's an entryway to the garden. And so this is where the magic happens. It really is. My prayers proceed out here. We come out at sunrise and we leave at sun and we come back at sunset. Mm-hmm. And so it's just an intimate setting. And sitting with you and your husband was such a joy.
Yeah.
And yeah. It was just the realest moments.
Yeah, you take off the corporate suit, you take off I don't wear stockings, but you take off that and it just helps to refresh. When we talk, there's just so much. I've got another comment. There's truly something authentic about a porch conversation. Yeah, because we just let it go. It's like sitting around a kitchen table. And right. But when it comes to the different areas of healing, and let me go to, because most of the people that join me, and for those of you who are new, this is the Readiness Factor, and I'm your host, Gail Birks. And today I'm talking to this wonderful woman whose name is Anunaku Osceola. And we are talking about rebuilding from the inside out. And folks, let me tell you, when you get to a certain level or point in your life, you have got to take that step back and refresh, regroup, regenerate. And that is just so important. We've got some folks from the UK who have joined us also. Welcome to you. Welcome. And so when you talk about, especially for people who are leading, and we'll talk a little bit more about the Sawajira Village and how that name came about. But when you talk about how people need to go about and enter their healing. I know the first thing that I had to do with you when I sat down with you was accept the fact that there really was some healing to do. And it may not have been what I thought it was going to be. And it was like, oops, oh my gosh, where did that come from? So do you get people to really start looking and understanding where that healing journey begins so that they can reclaim that power?
I think, thank you so much, because it's everything. It's
Girl, you be vulnerable out here.
That's what I'm saying. And that's the part, like, setting safe space, sacred space, and that has to happen within first, right? Because like, if I'm not there, I can't do that for anyone. And so it does require deep dives of your own vulnerability. It's like being a filter for yourself first, like looking at everything. And it's so funny because I can see it showing up even like, ADHD. I would say that ADHD is really someone needing to go deeper within their own cleaning process within. But if you don't, you find yourself doing it without. But also I'm finding the opposite. The more I'm doing that within, I'm becoming more clean outside, like immaculate, like everything's got to be lined up and things got to be, and when I cut the roots or cut this, I got to go as deep as I can. And I think that doing that, and people sometimes are like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, but you'll love me later. You know what I mean? But it has to start with truth telling.
Yes.
And it gets beyond what my truth is and what your truth is, and it just becomes the truth, like a universal truth that begins to seal something within the time we're spending together that allows you to take down a little more, and and then take down a little more, and then your higher self, the God in you, is like, oh good, we got a window, let's go in. You know what I mean? And then you're just, you just effortlessly opened up. I just hold the space, whether it's through cooking good food or a glass of water or wine or whatever it is. We're remembering, we're catching up, we're reunioning. We had a family reunion, sis, is really what happened. And whatever reconciliation and healing needed to happen, whether between us or your real family or your spirit family, that's what we hit on. That's where we go, because it's about the family healing and the matriarchs healing and the fathers healing and the children having space to evolve in a healthy way without having to be a casualty of the inner wars that are happening, because there may be ancestral conflicts. And you, I can say personally, are one that came to carry the generational cleansing that will happen, and precede the way to open doors and gateways and opportunities and remove blockages for your next 7 generations. And you will pass the torch to the one that is worthy. Mm-hmm. They may not see the worthiness now, but you keep standing. We keep standing. They feel it. They feel it. It's unearthing them. Trust me. You know what I mean? It is an instability because, man, you have to, if we're all connected that way. The blood connects us, the breath connects us, the air, the elements, you know what I mean? And we are all that. You know what I mean? So it is asking us to come into your authenticity, be vulnerable, open up, be real, allow somebody to nurture you, love you, hold you, nourish you.
Talk a little bit more about that, because, that is one of the vulnerabilities that people now don't allow themselves to do or have. That nurturing, whether it's self-nurturing or nurturing by others. It's something that has to be really put back into the life equation. And I know in my own business, CMA Enterprise, that is the first thing we do before we can get into the business of the business. And that is just so huge, because that's where the trust begins.
Yeah.
If I can't build that trust, then what's the point? And I think that sitting down with you and that whole weekend that we spent helped me to re-energize so that I can go back into those settings and give people my energy. And that's just huge. Huge. People are loving that word authentic. They're loving that word.
Well, love this word too, reconciliation. Reconciliation to me is moving beyond the word healing, because I always say that the ing in healing feels to run on.
Okay.
And you can miss your opportunity to, when it's your turn to kind of jump off the merry-go-round and begin to experience what you've done for yourself so far.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, celebrate those moments and those small wins that you may think are small. You know what I mean? Because that builds you in it. You know what I mean? So also reconciling, reconciling unto yourself, reconciling to what was, the storylines, reconciling with the ghosts of the past, which people call trauma. But I once again, that word, Spirit says that word kind of is just, it's just like a drop word. It doesn't really take you into what is the trauma. I have trauma and we move through it, but ghosts of the past is something that arouses a curiosity in people, and they're like, and they want to explore it because they're like, go to the past, and those ghosts are like ancestral, the ancestors, the winds of change, the winds of storms, it holds a mystery. And that's where I don't know kind of has the answer lives within that mystery.
Right.
So in that authenticity, we must reconcile. And I think that both of those are like truth and trust. To me, they feel like they go together.
I love that. I love that. Because until we learn how to reconcile and own the outcomes of what reconciliation brings, because that's the other thing. That's the other thing that you take us through. Okay, you reconcile, good.
That's
you got through that. Yay! But now let's own it.
Integrate it. You got to integrate it.
Yeah. And bring it into
right
the fabric of where we need to go. That is just so huge.
And judgment, and sometimes judging it too soon or judging it against what you are coming through, like what you've already known, can kind of squash the reconciliation piece, the integration piece, excuse me. It can kind of kill the integration piece. And that's when you have to apply the trust. You have to trust the entire, like I have to trust. I have to trust what I'm getting, what I'm sensing, what I'm saying, and people ask me, Gail, to describe this. Like, I reached out for ways to put Sawajira out there and what's happening here and what I know that, the Most High is calling for on the planet and in the earth, and my little contribution to it. And I'm like, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to describe it because each one is individually personalized. It's like this is an enchanted porch, you know what I mean? And you're an enchanted being. So how can I encapsulate when I don't want to define it, because it's an infinite space of possibility? And if I put too much limitation or structure around it, people who are structural orientated will want to stick to the structure. People that need structure, if it's too loose, so you got to just trust it all. You know what I mean? Because the integration is so important that it lands and it becomes a waking part of your new walk, your new legs, your heart expansion, your rawness, everything, the self-care that's required. You got to be very sensitive to that and honoring to that.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say then too is that there's just some boundaries redefined that go along with this walk. And there is a beginning, because you have to start. But there's not necessarily an end to it, because it takes you along the way in different ways, different channels that give us the answers that we're looking for if we're paying attention. And we've got to stay alert.
Yeah, and different from healing, because I said that it seems like it
Yes.
can keep running on. It's almost like when you allow that, it does run on, but it becomes your creation, a new creation, and not so much, a similar storyline of where you may continue to be looking outside of yourself for the answer, but you delight in going in and finding your own answer and then watching life. This is the fun part. And watching life. You and I experienced it this weekend, right? We had so much fun watching life just confirm itself, right? Whether it was through the trees, the birds, the roosters, the earth, all the magic that creates itself. You begin to realize the universe is actually on my side. The universe actually is my friend. And I do got angels, guides, and spirits that walk with me, that love me and care for me. And so I can have more conversations with me, but with all of that at the same time.
Absolutely.
And it becomes art. It becomes art. And like one of the truth tellers card, life imitates art. You know what I mean? It becomes your artistry. Your journey becomes your artistry, and more things become your canvas or your palette. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I think one of the things that we all, those of us who have been on that journey and sat by the fire and watched the flames build and grow and mature, it really let me sit inside while I sat outside, if that makes any sense, and truly think about and confirm the direction that I wanted to take, not only personally but professionally as well. And I left so much stronger, which is why I wanted to bring you on the show, because I just think that this message and this gift of life needs to be shared. And we had some folks, just shifting a little bit, who wanted to know a little bit more about the Sawajiwa village. Talk to us about what is the Sawajiwa village?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Sawajiwa village, who knew, right? First and foremost, is a gift, from an amazing place in the universe that I still have yet to comprehend, right? Sawajiwa village is first somebody asked where the name came from. I was sleeping one day in West Palm Beach in 2019, and I was taking a nap, and I woke up and I heard Sawajiwa. And I wrote it down and spelled it as phonetically correct as I could. And I had that. And so I started building like little pieces of the village. It started with community fires. Then it went to Sky Above Date Night and Dine, Sky Above Amphitheater Music. And little did I know, because all these pieces were coming at different times, is I was creating a village. And so I sat with some of my beloved people in the very beginning, Lino and Katia, Damien and Sandra Rose, and we like kind of started concocting this whole, okay, but it wasn't quite coming out that way because it was too premature. So when I went in, I asked, and it said, the ancestor said to me, "You're giving us a place to roam free." And so that's what was the motto of Sawajiwa Village, a place for us to roam free. And then my sister Jami comes in and says, "And rise." So, and I added that piece. And so then later, many years later, 3 years later, I would be coming to Gainesville. And I still hadn't, I'm going to show it how it comes in from the garden side of the garden at Porter's community, where Sawajiwa Village is connected to. So Sawajiwa Village was birthed in 2019 when the vision first dropped. But then it really became manifested in 2023. These brothers were building the fence, and I was about to erect the Sky Above in Gainesville for the first time. And that's when it was like village, and I started burning the fires from the garden into the village, and then just solely in the village. And then when Jami came, my sister Jami Yabumpese Kabolai, she's always she was the catalyst for me really fully coming into Anunaku. She was like, "I'm calling you Anunaku." I was like, "Okay." And she and I are like the clan mothers of Sawajiwa Village. It's just everything became, let's build it, let's build. And we started creating content with Sawajiwa Village. I had some, but like it started to evolve, and then we started to do community fires after the date night and dines, and it's just been amazing, and then the farmer, Brother Otis, he was always here supporting where he could. We did the first fires, and so everybody was coming together to make the village happen. And then people started coming to visit, and they were having real breakthroughs. I mean, like real breakthroughs, stuff that was taking years. They were like, oh man, like, whoa. And I said, wasn't that interesting? 40 years worth of stuff, or, and like, little bit of time, you just really committed to yourself, the breakthroughs that you could see. And so, the house became a temple house, and Sawajir is the village. And I'm just grateful because it holds, it will hold the community. All are welcome. All are welcome to retreat, to get something to eat, to just woosah. We rub feet if it's needed.
And she really is a great cook, folks. She really is. Totally vegan. And I loved it. We loved it. We loved it. When it comes to how you take that step to say, Anunaku, I need to step into that space. Well, you know what? Before I do that, let me bring in our audience. We have quite a few people who are sitting in the chat room with us. And let me open up the mics, invite you to open up your mics. And if you've got questions or comments for Anunaku, please join the conversation on the porch with us. We'd love to have you join in. You don't have to be shy. This is a safe space. We are all family. But we'll give them a moment to kind of get warmed up. I've got some more folks who are chiming in from LinkedIn. Again, I tell you, my folks on LinkedIn, they really burn things up. The universe truly is in favor. So you've got folks who are rooting for you. Often we are our own worst enemies and get in the way of that. When you're working with someone, how often or how long do you work with them? And what does that really look like as you're walking them through that journey? Hey, Mary.
Hey, Mary. Mary, Hail Mary. Hey, that was one of the meditations I did this morning.
I want to
say, look, hey,
it's not Mary. I'm on the wrong Zoom.
Oh, hey, Chris. Hey, Chris.
Hi, everybody. I just have to say that Anunaku's personal medicine is incredible and incredibly empowering. And I don't know if you're hearing an echo, but I am. Yeah. So I'll have to figure that out.
Thank you, Mary Walker. No, I'm just kidding.
What an endorsement. What an endorsement. Love it. Love it. Okay. Yes. So the role of the porch, the significance of the porch, you really just kind of touched on it. It just takes it back to the old days. It reminded me of my grandparents' cottage in Flint, my aunt's cottage in Boaz, Alabama. And it just took me, the city girl, back to basics. Let's talk more about the significance of the porch.
It's funny. I just remember in 2020 telling Jami, we're gonna get a house together and we're gonna sit on the porch and have tea. And it was kind of like, a real but joke. And it was funny, like literally that's what happened. And I think Chris was the sister that just talked. she was the first one that really was like, I just love your back porch. And she would go there. It's like, this is my favorite spot. I don't think I was spending that much time out there at that time. But then slowly and gradually, I began to get up every morning at sunrise and have coffee. And then I would come back out at sunset and sometimes just sit out and look at everything or get ready to do a fire. And it just feels good to expand because the house has a lot of energy in it, but it's smaller, which is there's a time for that, when we want to cozy in and pull it in a little bit. But then when it's like an expansive energy of like, okay, we need all the forces to work with us right now because we're about to open this up, and that's what I rely on. Like it is not in and of myself, that is the magic and the mystery, it's them. And I just get to listen, hear, and be very, very clear and connected to that, so being out in that just, it just feels like you have the space while you're unloading, while you're opening, while you are expanding all this information that's been contained in your being, in your vessel, because part of the story is we were consciousness coming into form. So our consciousness kind of has to shave down and fit these avatars. And then we got to remember all this stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, it's almost like the porch gives permission to say, allow yourself to expand out. You know what I mean?
Love
And then
that.
whatever else is needed, whether it's a fire, whether it's going to the water, whether it's laying you on the earth and moving more energy around so that you can keep opening, and your opening is your own personal, what's coming through as you're in your own meditation. You know what I mean? So and then we go back on the porch, or whatever, you know what I mean? But it's like you have to stay connected to something in this earth realm because you can lose time on the porch.
Yeah.
But it always works out favorably. Yeah.
Someone asked the question, was the porch already in place or did you envision it prior to?
It was here, and like we did a Sky Above Amphitheater music on the porch. We've had musical shows. Jami, who would then be Fluidity, did her performance. We had a young brother from Gainesville named Facts Only. Big talent. Oh man, he did a hip hop show on the back porch here. And so the porch has had we hosted a fundraiser on the porch one time because it was raining and we had to set up all the Sky Above tables. And then my grandbabies have walked on this porch, and so the porch is already in place. Give thanks because it is pretty magic and it's big. It's like, it's not your average
it is.
porch. Yeah, it's really lengthy and yeah.
It goes all across the house. So when it comes to, oh gosh, you've got my head is just so full. I've got a comment that says it's amazing so that so many times we need what we need already is like the porch. And as you work with individuals, as you work with couples like you did with us, as you work with small groups, the outcome is so amazing. Do you find that people kind of surprise themselves like, I didn't expect that, Are they surprised? Are they relieved? I mean, what are some of the emotions that they're able to, one, release, but also take in and continue to grow with that you have seen in your walks?
I'm going to put some people on blast who have had this experience. So I'm going to call them out because it's always a challenge to testify of myself, because it's their experience. I can take away, but it's in those moments, believe it or not, I do a lot of talking, but I'm very sensitive and cognizant to when it's their time. And I would think that answer should come from people who have experienced an experience. So I can call out 3 right now. I see.
Don't call me out. I'm just going to jump in. I was waiting for my opportunity. I'm just going to say I met Anunaku when I came down for a name-changing ceremony for my son that was on the porch. And I came down for 5 days. But amazingly, in this spiritual world where we exist, Anunaku was prepared for my arrival, but I wasn't prepared for her. But I extended, now let me go on video so y'all can see me. I had to walk out of work so I could do this. I literally extended my trip 5 days because I came 5 days for my family. I had no idea I was going to need another 5 days to be with Anunaku. And before I arrived, I had just found my biological father. So I had a lot of emotions going on. And there's a transformation going on in my life. And there is no one on the face of this earth that I know besides this woman right here that would have been able to help me with where I was, not even know you showing up that you need help. And so it's an amazing thing. We connected for life. I don't care where she going. We gonna be connected. And I'm hailing from Pennsylvania, but I wanted to jump in, and I'm gonna go back up to my desk now and continue to listen.
And what is your name? I'm sorry. What is your name?
I'm Lenona.
Hi, Lenona. Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you so much.
Let me tell you something. Lenona was a blessing. Let me tell you, the winds of Oya blowed in. 2 chairs fell back when she and I were sitting on the porch. I mean, she's a presence. Like the weather was like, she's coming. I said, okay, I hear you. Let me light some more candles for the sister and make sure we good. But the laughs, the moment the takedown happened, we giggled like girls. And we both just expressed how grateful we were to be able to just, okay, we're clear here. Right. We just had a family reunion moment. Welcome home. I'm here. You know, we were here. And from there, it just was just organic. And I loved holding her, you know, not even just meeting her. As people are texting me about the Zoom we are on, but, you know, like meeting her, just another sister queen, you know, highly evolved being, magnificent and excellent in so many facets. And to just, to spend time with her and to hold her, it was everything, to be trusted. Because see, my trust levels aren't just around the women that come to the porch, it's ancestral for me. And, you know, and I'm recognizing that more and more through, you know, our culture. And as we embody more of our indigenous aspects, you know, and really rock with that, is I'm not just dealing with you. I'm sitting with a whole council of, you know, highly protective beings. I'm going to go into the protective piece because I'm okay. It's like a deep, deep trust, you know, that we are both in.
Yes.
And so sacred, you know what I mean? So I'm always like, I think I cry when people leave, not because I miss you, because I'm honored. And Gail, really quick, you said, when does it end? It doesn't. We will stay with you as long as we have to.
Forever.
Yeah, integrating wise too.
I have someone who's giving me a question from LinkedIn for you. It's a big one. So give me a minute. It says, if there is time to get to this, was there a time that someone came out to the village but left unfulfilled, or having walked away, not having that experience like Miss Gail mentioned having?
I haven't had that experience thus far, and I have to put my confidence in the gift giver that we go with 100% success rate. It's up to you.
Love that. What you put in is what you get out.
And trust me, let me tell you something. Whoever sent that, thank you for that. And I love you for it. And I have to say that I have been in trainings that would ask for all this information. And I was so closed that I was like, no, you here to work with me. You figure it out.
Yes.
And not recognizing that that was to my own detriment, because I wasn't ready to be vulnerable. Like I felt like, you know, so I had all these guards up. So sister, if that got broken through, if it doesn't happen for you here, it's going to happen when you leave. And I would highly recommend, like, let's do it here so I can hold you. Like, don't do that, because then you have to do it on your own. But you might be that healer. That has to do it on your own.
And Miss Miss Odom said to visit, not change, is impossible. And she said you have to be dead not to change. And
The
you
impossible
know,
not possible. Yeah,
I,
for
I
sure.
think when you come into that universe, it is your initial or personal commitment to want to see something different happening, and it's got to be your commitment to seeing it through. That's just Gail talking. And I do that in my own practice. And that's why I'm like, okay, I make people become vulnerable and trusting and accepting and resilient. So sometimes the teacher needs to become the student. And I think that is what you made me become that
That
day
was the
or
funniest
that
moment.
weekend.
That was the funniest. We laughed so hard and I loved
Uh,
it.
and
We
I
laughed.
Yeah, and I think that you had mentioned it earlier where someone was there and they just start, the laughing. I mean, and when I say laughing, folks, she really makes you, it's like gut level solar plex kind of laugh that you got to bring out. It's like, okay, we're getting ready to disturb the neighbors here. And so that was probably the best medicine that
Yeah.
we had our music going, we had the laugh going, everything was no holds barred in the conversations. It was just wonderful, and just sometimes you just need to be in that kind of setting. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
It's okay.
Can I
um
pull? Can I pull one? Can I ask another person to speak on their experience?
absolutely.
Okay, Miriam, no, not yet. Miriam, looks at that. You're coming up. Sarah Watts, I see you. We can't hear you yet.
Unmute. Okay, I just unmuted myself. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
See Sarah Watts, ladies and
I knew
gentlemen.
I knew you were going to call me.
Oh, dude.
I have great things to say about Anu. We've been knowing each other since our kids were babies, basically. All the way back as far as 2004. We lived in the same community. I always admired her from the first time I knew her because she was just so extraordinarily brilliant, bright. And I said, I've got to get to know her. I like to network with people like that. This is a very bright, smart woman. Over the years, she began to remind me of Maya Angelou and Jan Levon Zant. She's such a great orator. She's a good thinker. She's a philosopher. She's just a wealth of knowledge spiritually. And I've said to her before, she's better than a therapist. I used to come to her. She used to do my hair. She's a hairstylist. And I love going to get my hair done because I not only got my hair done, but I got therapy in that chair in the salon. Um, Anu began to give functions, and I would always want to come to her functions because I gained so much knowledge there and when I left. And I used to bring other people with me because I wanted them to know and learn from this woman of knowledge. Um, let's get to my retreat. I was doing a 1 month fast. I was cleansing. And before the end of the cleanse, I said, I need to do more than that. I need to do more. I need to go on some type of retreat. Who do I go? Where do I go? And I started searching. I'm like, what are you searching for? You know, the perfect person to do a retreat with. So I called her up and I said, listen, I'm doing a cleanse and I want to do more. I need some healing done. I need to get grounded. She said, what date, what time? And we planned it. When I tell you, it was a completion of everything that I needed. Um, it was a great healing experience. Like that porch that you guys were talking about earlier, that porch reminds me of when I was a child. And I used to see the aunts and uncles on the porch sharing stories. That's exactly what it reminded me of. But not only that, it was a place to do exactly that, release things, and then gain knowledge from Anu, who helped me. You helped me so much, and I thank you so much for helping me to it was like a confirmation of my healing. I needed you there for that. And the guidance. Yes, she was definitely a confirmation for me through the healing process. It was like she held my hand and helped me to see what I was seeing. And it's a great experience.
She
I would
has hard
recommend anyone to
questions
go.
too. Yeah.
Hmm?
She has hard questions too.
Oh, she makes you dive deep.
It's,
Yes, definitely. And it is up to the individual. You have to be at a place where you understand what healing is all about. You have to have that craving for it. You have to be open. You have to be open to the knowledge. You have to be able to go deep because Anu is very deep.
mm-hmm.
And this is a deep retreat, a deep lesson. So you definitely have to be prepared and aware of what to expect.
Thank you.
That's beautiful. You are loved, my dear. You are
Thank
very
you.
much loved and appreciated. And thank you for that commentary, that testimony. It
Okay.
is so amazing because we live in this village of kings and queens. I've seen some guys on here now. I saw my friend Mark Van Wyck from the UK pop in. So we've got some people from all around the world who have joined in. And I'll have to tell you, this is one of the largest inside Zoom chats that we have had. I don't know how many people are on LinkedIn, but this is definitely one of the large chat room attendances. And I think a lot of it is because of the energy that you have cast out. And I thank you all for joining us. This is truly an authentic day. And I want to tell you, and I don't understate the term kings and queens because we are. And, when I speak to Jami, when I speak to you, Anunaku, I always address you as my sister queens. Because if we don't believe it, then who? And, queens have advisors and truth sayers. And we need to be able to have that safe space to go when we need to take off our crowns or when they're a little crooked, and we need to call our sister queens and say, you know what, I don't know how to straighten it up, or the kings.
No, we need to be able to say my shit is coming undone.
Well,
Can you hold me? I know, I hear my mother's like, oh my God. Right, but no, but that realness, that level of rawness, if that's how you come, you know what I mean? We gonna receive you.
Yep. Just be, as they say, I'm speaking next week. So this is my energy and preparation. And I spoke to my invite, my host, and I said, how do you want me to do this? And it's just what you said. He said, well, and he quoted somebody. He said, well, you remember that comment that Kamala made? I guess it was at the convention. And he said, just do you. I said, well, if you're going to say it right, then you got to say, just do you, boo. And I said, so when I come.
Right. That's
so
okay.
when I come next week, boo, I'm just going to do me.
Right.
You said I could.
Right.
So, but it does not matter the level that you play at. It does not matter the walk in life that you take. What matters is the authenticity, the resilience, the sincerity that we bring, those beautiful words. The lack of understanding of that word impossible, because I don't understand it. And I'm not even trying to understand it, but you bring the possible. And I think in this day and age, these are the kind of experiences that we need to be able to sit around the fire and have those conversations. I've got about 5 minutes left. And I'm going to turn it to you to open up to any final words and of nuggets of gold nuggets that you want to share with us. Tell us how people can find you. And I do have a slide that I will share. I cannot believe this has been an hour already. Oh my God. Amazing. So I give you the mic, my sister queen.
Thank you, Your Grace. That is how we are acknowledging one another. We have to, recognize the sovereignty within us and begin to hold each other in that and nothing less. And I want to say peace and blessings be unto everyone here. I really appreciate everyone that came. I always want to say in the power of love, I love you, moving beyond much love and just I love you, but in the power of love, I love you. And I want to say that, all are welcome to come to Sawajira. Leave your expectations, you know what I mean? And just look to be free. And there's so much happening in the community that we are in. We are in Porter's community, which is an amazing community with the heart. It holds the heart of Gainesville. It is the heart of Gainesville. It is definitely an energy of healing and like a stamina. There's a stamina and a force here, of people who are free. We're not freedom fighting anymore. We are free. And it's about declaring that and living it within and allowing that to burst forth. There's so many teachings that are coming through, but each for, its time. And so I just give so much gratitude. And I want to just also show my grandfather on the altar and the flower that my mother gave me. I want to acknowledge my ancestors because I know that it's because of them we are. And so Ubuntu, and a shout out to Miss Carol, who is an elder who fought for alongside the community elder and this leader in this community for the rights of the people here. It's a Black community and so much happening here on so many levels. And so I just want to give honor to everyone and just say thank you. And Sawajira Village is in Gainesville. You can go on the website at www.skyaboveSawajira.org and you can go to the village schedule and offerings page and you can book a retreat if you'd like to. There's my number because I'm still very much into personable. Emails are cool. But if you want to go ahead and talk with me, we can do a call. And we work with youth. I've also worked with youth in recovery and addiction. I work with adults in recovery and addiction as well, that maybe after coming out of recovery or maybe even before they go into detox, listen, I'm just going to say, and youth, we work with the youth. I have a lot of youth that come to the house. I would like to give a shout out to Shamila Sigri, who is an amazing woman who is on her queen evolution, like from 0 to 100. She did the website for me. So if anybody needs that, she's amazing. Her children are going for the Olympics, track and artistry. They come to the house. And so the children flock to the house. And we teach, we do things, we do art, we do conversations, whatever is required, because it's all about learning, never cease to learn. And so the children are always welcome to come as well. So yes, there's so much I could say, but I want to say, Gail, and everyone on this thread, listen, thank you so much. I had no idea all the gifts that would come with you just coming to sit and be my friend and be my big grand sister and just allow me to be in service to you and your beloved husband. It was just so nice to see him in that space. I don't know what he's like any other time, but to be able to serve him breakfast and to make sure he was good and the music I knew was hitting him, that magic playlist. And I just have so much love for the family. And so it is about reconciling that within us so that we can be that catalyst for our family's healing and move forward and make these advancements that the planet is calling us to, because it's real. It's happening. I want to say, Jamie, thank you for being another sister. Amazing. To all my sisters on this thread, to all my brothers on this thread, and to all your children and your families and your grandchildren. And I can't thank each of you enough for how you've poured into me. Mom, I just want to say I love you. Thank you.
Now, if you all don't leave full of love, I don't know what. I have your information on the screen. And folks, you can also reach out to me as well. This is a recorded session, so you can hear it again. You'll see it on LinkedIn, you'll see it on Facebook, but if you go to GP Birks on LinkedIn, you will find it. But I want to give a wholehearted thank you to Anunaku Osceola, my sister queen, my friend, and wellness coach and just tour guide at Samajera Village. Thank you so much, my sister, for giving me the opportunity to host you today. Ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens, thank you so much for joining the Readiness Factor. We will see you next month, the second Thursday of every month at 2 p.m. Eastern
Everybody join
Standard
in.
Time.
Yes,
Please
join
join
in.
us.
Yes.
These are the kind of conversations we bring to leaders and executives, however you define yourself, for a better life. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a
I love you,
wonderful
sister.
day.
Stay gold.